welcome to this yoga for shoulder practice. You might need two pieces of equipment today. If you're real tight in your shoulders, just get a little towel and roll it up lengthways. That's just if you're tight reaching behind your back. And the other thing that you definitely need is a yoga block or a book. Doesn't matter which one. Okay, so just pop those two pieces of equipment to the side or pause the video to go and grab them if you need them. And then we will start off lying on our backs with our knees bent, and you're going to have the book or the yoga block with you. I'm just going to take off my mismatched socks. Have a lie on your back. Have the book just by your side, ready to pick it up. We're going to start off with our breathing. Oftentimes we're tense around the muscles in our shoulders that go from the front of the shoulder to the rib cage or to the chest. So we're going to try and stop those working when we breathe and use our diaphragm more or our lower rib cage more. So pop one hand on your breastbone and pop the other hand on top of it, and think about your breastbone softening down towards the mat. Then place one hand on your belly, whichever one you want. Breathe in through your nose and send your breath down deep to that hand on your belly. As you breathe in, notice the hand on the belly rise, and as you breathe out, notice it soften and fall back down. And you're going to go for 4 breath cycles like this, breathing in through the nose, down deep into the belly. Breathing out through the nose or mouth, letting the belly soften and the hands sink back down towards the mat. Two more breath cycles here. Then we're going to take our book. We're going to try and keep that breathing pattern for the rest of the practice if you can. Grab your book or your yoga block and place it on top of your left hand. Straighten the left arm and bend the wrist back as much as you can so that the palm looks straight up towards the ceiling. And then from here, we're going to get our left shoulder blade moving. So if you keep the arm completely straight, just think about pushing the book up towards the ceiling. And you'll feel your left shoulder blade move away from the mat and move around to the front of your rib cage. Now, can you send that shoulder blade back down to the ground, keeping your arms straight? Feel your shoulder blade touch down on the mat and then press it away again. And lower it back down. So oftentimes we lose the ability to move our shoulder blade like this when all our shoulder muscles get really tight and sore. And we're going to go for 5 more of these. So press the hand, you can have the fingers spread on that yoga block or book, and then lower the shoulder blade back down. Press into all 5 fingers, shoulder blade slides forward away from the mat, and then let the shoulder blade slide back down onto the mat. You can use your other hand and just check that your neck muscles are nice and relaxed and that you're not hitching your shoulder up around your ear. And you've got 2 more to go. Notice if it's really hard to move the shoulder blade or if it moves nice and freely, and you'll often feel a difference between sides. And then keeping the block in that hand, you're going to inhale as you stretch the hand overhead. The wrist will straighten so that you can keep the block or the book on the hand. And you're going to move the arm overhead as much as you can without your rib cage flaring up off the mat. So you can use your free hand and press it onto your lower ribs and think about your lower ribs staying pressed down into the mat. And then bring the hand back, the wrist bends. You're going to go for 5 more of these. You're going to inhale as you reach don't lose the book. Inhale as you reach the arm overhead, palm, wrist straightens out. So the palm is always looking up towards the ceiling, basically. And go for 4 more. And you're just going into as much range as you have that's pain-free. So if you feel shoulder pain, don't push back into that range of movement. We just want to loosen out tight muscles and just bring some pain-free movement. If you go into pain, the muscles just tense up again. You got one more to go. Feel the belly rise as you breathe in. And then swap the book over to your right hand. Bend the wrist back. Again, you might be tighter on one wrist as well. Spread the fingers on the block or the book and get that hand right over your shoulder. And then from here, press the book up towards the ceiling. Feel the shoulder blade slide forward around the rib cage. Shoulder blade lifts away from the mat. And then slide the shoulder blade back down to the mat, keeping the arm straight, wrist bent. So I feel the right side a lot harder to move. So you feel like you don't get as much movement, and you might feel a little bit of tension through your neck, front of your chest, from tight muscles in the area, or a tight wrist. You're going to go for 3 more, just getting as much movement as you can. And as you keep doing this practice, you should get more and more movement into that shoulder blade. The last one. Shoulder blade rests down. Place your left hand on your lower rib cage. You can take note of your breathing pattern as well now. Inhale as the hand goes overhead. Palm stays facing up all the time. And exhale as the arm comes back over the shoulder. Palm stays facing up to the ceiling. As you inhale, you might feel your belly expand into that hand on your lower rib cage. And as you exhale, notice the belly soften. And you've got 3 more of these to go. So we're getting our shoulder movement back, but we're also giving a nice little stretch or opening up to all the muscles kind of under our armpit, front of our chest. Last one. Then we're going to place the book to the side and come up into a seated position. So just roll onto your side, and you can either sit on a chair or your mat, whichever is more comfortable for you. Whichever position you're in, place your hands on your lap and think about length. So imagine the crown of your head being pulled up towards the ceiling. So you're creating length in your torso, you're not slumped forward. And then from here, we're going to go into a cat-cow exercise to move the spine first. So as you inhale, lift your breastbone up, lift your gaze up towards the ceiling, chest comes forward. And as you exhale, round, so chin down to the chest, round your back towards the wall behind you. And then inhale to lift up. Go for 1 more round of this in sync with your breath. And then we're going to add in a little bit of shoulder movement. So we need movement around our upper chest to help the shoulder move with ease. So that's why we're doing the cat-cow with it. So as you lift your breastbone, turn the palms up. And as you lift your breastbone, lift your gaze, open the arms out to the side, like your thumbs are getting pulled back. And just go as far as you can, pain-free. And then round the spine, head down, and palms go back down onto your lap or your knees. Inhale, turn the palms up, lift the breastbone, lift your gaze. Exhale, round the spine, palms face down. Going for 3 more in sync with your breath. Again, you can notice if there's a difference between sides. Do you feel a bit of stiffness between your shoulder blades? Just checking in. Last round, inhale, palms up, pull the thumbs back. Exhale, round forward. Come back up into your nice tall seated position. We're going to just do a few little shoulder rolls. If your shoulders are quite sore, you're going to keep doing them like this, where you just lift your shoulders up, slide them down, and roll them forward. Hands stay on your laps, so there's no load through the shoulder joint. If you're able to, place your hands on your shoulders. We're going to add a little bit of load to the movement. Lift your elbows up and draw a big circle out to the side and down. So drawing 2 circles with your elbows. And we're keeping the hands on the shoulders because that gives us a nice short lever. So less load than if we had our arms out straight. So whichever version feels good for you, either with your hands on your lap, doing your shoulder rolls, or with your hands on your shoulders, doing your elbow circles, and change direction of whichever version you are doing. Often it's a little harder when you change direction. I'm going for 2 more in this direction. And then rest the hands down. Bring one hand to your breastbone, one hand to your belly button, and think about lifting your breastbone up and away from your belly button. So you're creating space through your whole torso where all those shoulder muscles attach. Bring both hands to the breastbone, lift the elbows, and pull the elbows back behind you. Feel the stretch through the front of the chest, maybe some tension in the mid-back. And then if it's comfortable for you, straighten the arms out. 1 thumb up, 1 thumb down, and follow the thumbs. So your right arm is going up, your left arm is going down behind you. Then bend at the elbows and place your hands wherever they rest. Now, if you're real tight, you just grab a towel in the top hand. So say if your left shoulder is really tight and it only kind of gets to your bum or the side of your hip, you can just take a hold of the towel for your stretch. Otherwise, you look something like this. And when you're in the stretch, think about leaning your head back into the top hand and taking 2 nice deep breaths into that right side of the rib cage. So you're opening up under that right armpit, right side of the chest. Then release the hands, bring them all the way down. Give your shoulders a roll and we'll go to the other side. So 1 hand on your breastbone, 1 hand on your belly button, and lift your breastbone up and away from your belly button. Hands to the chest, pull the elbows back, reach the arms out, and rotate so that your left thumb is up and your right thumb is down. And then follow the thumb, so left arm goes up. Bend at the elbows and let the hands rest on your upper back or use a towel if you're really tight. Lean your head back into the top hand and just take 2 or 3 breaths here, breathing into that armpit area, front of the chest. Then release the hands, give the shoulders a little roll again, and we're going to come onto all 4s and we're going to do a little flow. So you're going to have your fingers spread like they were on the book. So give yourself a nice wide base of support, and we're all going to move forward into a modified plank. Or if you want, if it's comfortable for you, go up into a full plank. But knees down for most people. You're going to press into your index finger and thumb quite strong. Slide your shoulder blades away from your ears, so you're not using your neck muscles. And really press into all 10 fingers. Look down at your hands and see if you can get the knuckles flat into the mat. And then from here, really tuck your elbows in nice and tight into your waist and see if you can just lower down to the mat. Slide your hands forward. Get your elbows just under your shoulders. Arms are running parallel. And then just lift up into a Sphinx pose. So your breastbone is lifted, your gaze is looking straight ahead, and those shoulder blades slide down the back. Taking 2 or 3 breaths here. And then lowering your chest all the way down, reaching your hands back by your sides. From here, as you inhale, lift the shoulders off the mat, and then lift the entire arm off the mat, hovering your chest just off the mat. And you're here for 2 breaths. So that's 1 dart variation. We're just going to do 3 more of those. Let the arms flop down, lift the shoulders, lift the arms and chest, and you're here for about 1 breath cycle. Feel the shoulder blades hug your upper back as you do this pose. And lower down. And 2 more. Lift the shoulders, lift the arms, feel the shoulder blades slide down the back, fingertips reach towards the end of the mat. Lower down, and last one. Shoulders lift first, so engage those shoulder muscles first, and then lift your chest and your arms. Then bring your hands under your shoulders, press back into a child's pose. Arms reaching forward if they can. If not, they can come back by your side. And just one breath cycle here, breathing in through the nose. Well, you've probably done a few breath cycles while I'm talking. Out through the nose or mouth. And then we're going to all come forward into our plank again. So get your hands ready. Spread the fingers. Press all of the knuckles down into the mat. As you move your weight forward and your arms have to take some weight. Feel the shoulder blades slide down your back and push into your hands like you're pushing your chest away from the floor. Then wrap your elbows in real tight to your waist and lower down nice and slow. Slide the arms forward, lift your head and chest up into a Sphinx pose. 2 breaths here. Opening up through the front of the chest, front of the shoulder muscles. And then lower the chest down. And this time the palms are going to stay facing down and your arms are going to be out to the side a little bit. So like 45 degrees. Same thing. Lift your shoulders and then lift the arms in the chest and allow the muscles around your shoulder blades to work. And lower down. If this one's sore on your shoulder, just go back to the first one we did with the palms up and the arms in close. It's less load. We're just going to do 2 more of these, guys. Shoulders lift. Think about length through the head, like the crown of your head has been drawn to the wall in front of you. You're not going to let your head drop. Last one. Reach out through the fingertips, like your arms are getting drawn away from the body. And then bring your hands under your shoulders and press back into your child's pose. 2 breaths here. I'm going to do 1 more round, so really stretch out all those fingers. Get ready for your plank. Press down into all 10 fingers, all the knuckles, and then move your hips forward until your weight is mostly in the arms. When you use a towel or a doubled up mat under your knees, if your floor is a little hard, from here, push your chest away from the floor, wrap your elbows in nice and tight, and then lower down slowly. Slide the hands forward, come into your Sphinx pose for 1 breath cycle. And then lower the chest down. And we're going to do 2 of each dart, or just pick the one that you prefer for 4. So all should be pain-free. Lift the shoulders away from the mat, palms face up, arms in close to the side as you lift your arms and chest for a breath cycle, which is just breathing in and out. 1 more of these. Shoulders lift, arms and chest lift, and 1 breath cycle. Arms out to 45 if it's comfy for you. Palms face down. Lift the shoulders, lift the arms and chest. 1 breath cycle. And we're on our last one. Shoulders lift away, arms and chest lift slightly. 1 breath cycle. Bring the hands back under your chest. Press back into your child's pose. And we're going to finish off with a little side stretch in lying. So we're all going to come to lying on our back. This is called a banana pose. So you're going to lie in the center of your mat with your knees bent, and then lift your bum up and push it over to the left edge of the mat. Now reach your feet over to the bottom right corner of the mat. Left leg crosses on top of right leg. Ooh, and I'm a little tight. So you might be able to keep your bum more to the left than me. And then bring your arms overhead, and we're going to take a hold of the elbows and curve your body over, your upper body over to the top right corner of the mat. So you're trying to keep that left side of your body down on the mat, and you should feel a nice stretch or opening through the entire left side of your body. And you're just going to, if your shoulders don't like this position, you can have them down on your tummy as well. If your shoulder's sore and you're just breathing into that left side of your body. If you can, get the arms overhead, take a hold of your elbows. And you're here for 3 breath cycles. Every time you breathe in, think about breathing into your left lung, left rib cage. Think about that space from your left armpit down to your hip, opening up and expanding with your breath in and recoiling back, softening and resting with your breath out. One more breath cycle here. And then let's bring our feet back into a bent position, bring our upper body back to the center. Lift your bum up, nudge it over to the right edge of the mat, and then reach your feet left first to the bottom left corner. See if you can cross the right on top of it. If it won't go on top, just put it beside it. And then curve your upper body over to the top left corner. And now we're breathing into that right side of the body. Again, if the shoulder is pain-free, pop the arms overhead, hug the elbows. If it's a bit sore, bring your hands down onto your chest. You'll still get a good stretch through that line of fascia. 2 or 3 breath cycles here. Every time you breathe in, breathing into that right side of the rib cage. Think about that space between your right armpit all the way down to the right hip, lengthening. You might also feel a good stretch on your outer leg if that's tight. Then bring yourself back to the center, roll onto the side and come up into a seated position. And you're all finished. Well done.